You know, plenty of government offices have had a closed sign hanging on that door for 12 days now, but not the front door of one congressman's office.
That's right. Representative Robert Pittenger, a North Carolina Republican, he's keeping his offices in Washington and Charlotte open during the shutdown.
Congressman Pittenger, thanks for talking with us this morning. Good to have you here.
Good morning, Anna and Victor.
Here's my question. Why did you decide to keep your offices up and running?
Well, you know, part of my job is public policy to deal with the great issues of this country, but the other part is meeting the needs of my constituents. We have a very dedicated staff. They love people. They love to serve, and we just really felt that with the inception of the new health care plan, the rollout, that a lot of people have concerns. As well, we recognize that there are other needs out there, too. We had a rancher who was going to lose his ranch because he couldn't get something processed through the USDA. We've had people with visa issues that were stuck in countries. We've helped over 100 people just in the last week or so. So we just felt it was important to be there to meet those needs.
Well, we know you're still getting paid through all this. You mentioned your staff members. Are they getting paid right now?
No, I'm not getting paid. Number one, I donated my salary a long time ago, but I signed a bill that said that we shouldn't receive pay. I don't accept pay during this time, and I don't accept the pay at any time. But no, the staff don't get paid. They're out there. Hopefully sometime that they will get paid, but they're doing their work in good faith.
So you are asking them to work for free right now?
Well, they're there, and they're committed. They are very dedicated people. Some of them are deacons in their church. I mean, they love people. They want to be there. They don't want to just abandon their job.
Well, I'm sure that hundreds of thousands of people who have been sent home for the furlough, they love people and they love serving people as well. But let me ask you about something you said in the Charlotte Observer. You said that this debate now has gone beyond Obamacare, and you're looking forward at the argument over the debt ceiling, and you want to talk about spending and cutting back on the budget.
Absolutely.
My question is, are you willing to blow by the October 17th deadline unless you get some commitment from the White House on cutting spending?
I think spending is the biggest crisis we have. No matter what thoughtful person you talk to, you could talk to Peter Orszag, who's the budget writer for Mr. Obama, or Erskine Bowles, who's the same for Mr. Clinton, or Paul Ryan. They're going to tell you, unless we address spending in this country, we're headed for a financial collapse, no different than Greece. So I think we have to get a hold of that. I know this crisis is coming up. I heard today that Mr. Obama does not want to extend beyond 6 weeks. I'm really not as concerned about the timetable as I am concerned about constructively what's being done to address the excessive spending. If you're taking in $2.5 trillion and you're spending $3.5 trillion, you've got a problem. And this country has a problem. And the reason why we have to increase the debt ceiling is because we have out-of-control spending. That's the issue right now, and we have to do that.
I get that, but the question still stands. Unless you get a commitment from the White House on cutting spending, are you willing to allow the country to go by the October 17th deadline without raising the debt ceiling?
I think that would be really in poor judgment. That's uncharted waters. I would hate to see that happen. Moody's has come out and said, yes, that's achievable. You could do that. You could make your interest payments. You could pay Social Security. You could prioritize your funding. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather see responsible, competent, capable people in that room addressing the real fiscal crisis that we have in this country. And unfortunately, in the last 5 years, Mr. Obama hasn't chosen to do that. He never mentioned it in his inauguration, not in the State of the Union when he came and met with House Republicans. He never brought it up. Frankly, he said that deficits weren't a big problem to him. That's really not accurate.
Mr. Pittenger,
we have to be serious about this.
Mr. Pittenger, I want to ask you about a new poll. A new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll this week asked if you could vote to defeat and replace every member of Congress, would you? And a whopping 60% said yes. That's the highest ever recorded in that poll. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I understand the frustrations of the American people, and frankly, that poll is really pretty typical through the years. Most people really don't have much appreciation for Congress in itself. Hopefully they like their congressman. But yes, we have to be accountable. We have to do our job. We haven't done our job. And we're trying to put out there reasonable offers to try to address this shutdown, but more importantly, to address the fiscal crisis in this country. That's the big issue out there. That's the elephant in the room. We can't get our focus off of that.
And you mentioned doing your job. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but let's talk a little bit more about doing your job. What are you doing actively right now to get the government back up and running right now?
Well, that's very good. Well, we've made 4 proposals to the Senate. They've been laid on the table. The last one was this: hey, we shouldn't receive a subsidy. Members of Congress, White House people, why should we get a privileged subsidy that the ordinary Americans don't get? And as well, we said this was the only 2 requirements in this last effort. Why should 1,100 corporations receive a delay, and yet ordinary Americans can't? Ordinary Americans are going to have to pay a penalty if they're not there and they don't sign up. 1,100 corporations don't have to do that. Those are the only 2 qualifications we had to keep from shutting down the government. Apparently that wasn't acceptable. I think that's indefensible, but nonetheless, that's where we are. We are willing to do anything. That's why we went to the White House and said, Mr. President, we're here. We want to be responsible. We're here to go the extra mile, to go halfway. What can we do to bridge this gap and come together and unite this country?
All right, Congressman Robert Pittenger, Republican from North Carolina, thank you for joining us. Coming up at 9 o'clock.
Thank you.
Certainly, we will be